This gathering came about in bringing together a lot of the families that were part of our research study and to connect them with the elders, because there was very much a disconnection. We felt a disconnection between the parents and elders.
Before colonization, before Europeans came to Turtle Island here to reside, we had a way of functioning in our own ways and means. We had our own ways of doing things, and including raising our children. And so if we can go back to those roots, go back to our ways of knowing and being, then we'll find the path. It's really important that we learn or relearn our language and share that with our children, because that'll form their identity and help them to feel good about who they are as individuals, as Anishinaabe, as Inaneo individuals.
It helps to feed our spirit and our identity about who we are as people. And so they tried to strip us of all those things and assimilate us into North American society, and it didn't work. What it did was just, help create more crisis and violence and unhealthy behaviors in the community. So we need to go back and look at those things and start to figure out how do we build them into where we are today.
We chose Niichimakwa School to be the place for our family gathering.
It's not that everything was lost or everything was taken through residential schools or other child welfare system and so on. We still have traditional parenting practices that are alive and well and being practiced. And we have to have time to reflect on what does that look like. In land-based societies, it's all around kids getting involved from a very young age at the work that needs to be done to sustain the community. So whether they're setting fish nets or doing little snares or whatever they're doing, they're acknowledged and recognized and valued for what it is they contribute. So I think one of the number one things we can do with kids now in the urban settings we find ourselves in, or as parents, is raise them to understand that they belong, they have a sense of belonging, that they have a purpose for being here, and that we value them.
The gathering was intended to do was to provide them their information back and to give them opportunity to hear more about other traditional teachings, because we tried to take out of that information that we gathered things that they wanted to learn more about, and so we got grandmothers to come.
We did a really great job offering and bringing in Madeline Dion Stout, another Kukum in our community that's well known, that's done a lot of work in the world of academia.
I really am very privileged and honored to be speaking here in Treaty 1 territory, and I'm very pleased and honored to be sharing my presentation with all of you in the room. The Cree name I grew up with is Gedesgo. It means ancient woman or child with an ancient spirit. I guess it makes me older than dirt. I'm going to be talking today about infant attachment as a part of life stages.
Anyways, I was invited here by Kathy Mallett, my cousin, to talk about my Tikanagan. Basically, this is a modern Tikanagan. A more traditional one would have been built quite a bit different. I think of this as, well, I'll use the word cradle board because I don't know if everybody's familiar with Tikanagan or not, but I think of it as a grandmother, because when little spirits are coming from the spirit world and they plant themselves inside their mother's womb, and as they grow, it becomes a very secure, very warm, very dark place. And once they're born and they go either into a moss bag or into a Tikanagan, they're usually swaddled. They get that security again. They're up against their mom. They get to feel the rhythm of the mom's walking. Some babies were put in moss bags and they were in the front where they could still hear their mother's heartbeat. This part here, a lot of times they did not have the bag on them, but the baby would be put on the front. It would be wrapped. The padding part would either have buffalo hair in it, it would have cattails, it could have moss, whatever was local to the region at that time where the people were living. And say the baby was put with the moss or cattails underneath it. And then they would be tied in. I'm just trying to do it loosely. On top, so you wouldn't have the bag necessarily. They would still be on the piece of wood, but they would be securely put inside there. So you didn't want the baby to fall out. And this part here, I don't know if people can see, there's a little bit of a lip. It would have been quite a bit larger, thicker, and if the baby slid down at all, their feet would hit that and they wouldn't fall out. That's what that was for. I say the original ones usually were made out of 2 pieces of wood on the back. This one is just got 1 piece because it is a modern Tikanagan or cradle board. But they would have 2 pieces, and I was told that it would be the energy of male and female, the mother and father, and that's why they would come together. And when I put that tie around it, it would pull everything together. These hangers here on the side, of course, they would have been larger too. They could be hung from a tree, they could be hung from a saddle once people were riding horses, they could be put up against a tree or teepee or whatever. If the mother was working, if it fell over, of course, baby's not going to hit its face, it's going to protect it. When they put the baby inside and say it was cold or the bugs, a lot of bugs around, they could put a blanket around it, tie it, and then the blanket was not in the baby's face. And of course the mother would put it on her back. She would have it like this, and she would have, I'm talking historically here, they would have
Like a cummerbund or
something around their middle part and around their forehead to hold the weight. So it was well balanced. Of course, each Tikanagan would have been decorated specifically for the baby. The mom never made it because they felt that the energy, there was too much expectation that the mom was putting out for that new little spirit that was coming. So it was usually an aunt, maybe a grandmother, but often an aunt of the mother's husband's sister.
One of the specific things that we thought about, of course, was to provide the children and their parents with a really healthy lunch. And so that's what we did. We decided to include a lot of vegetables and lots of protein, and so that the little kids can, have a really good meal.
Get salad dressing on your sleeve there. I'm Kathy Bird. I just enjoy all the programming that they have in the inner city that wasn't there before they had come, like the stay and play programs, and then really trying to incorporate families working with families and as a community instead of people working against each other. And I appreciate a lot of the things that they do and help with.
The positive parts that we got out of it was the parents reaffirmed what we already knew. They want more gatherings like this. We ended the afternoon with a round dance, and we didn't really have much time to get it, but it was the parents that wanted to have that round dance, and so they were the ones that initiated it and made sure that we ended in that circle. This was the ultimate goal of this research, is to help the parents recognize their own power and that they are on the right road. No matter what they're doing the best they can.
There's that old expression that children should be seen and not heard in old-fashioned Western parenting style. But in Indigenous cultures, children were part of the circle, always. They were always part of the work, part of the activity. I think that's the difference, is that in Western culture there's kind of a hierarchy where older people and young people weren't perhaps as valued as people in their middle years, whereas in Indigenous communities it's about a circle and no one is really valued more than anybody else because it's understood that everybody has something to contribute.
I think the crucial thing, of course, was to have as many of the families that participated in our learning circles over the last year and a half.
I'm one of 8 artists that are here today to work with the kids, and we've done some memory boxes where kids will make these little origami boxes to keep their memories in from today, and as well as like future memories. We also made dream journals where they can record the dreams that they have while they sleep, as well as like dreams and goals for the future. And then we were also doing like a whole bunch of drawing games, and we took the kids outside to play dodgeball, grounders, you know, burn off their energy.
Oh, so close.
I think everything's going pretty smoothly. I was preparing for something super hectic and crazy, and it wasn't at all. It just went smooth and easy, and it's lots of fun. And it seems like lots of the kids are having fun too, which is the most important part.
So what's your name?
Taven, you know.
What did you enjoy about today? What did you do today?
Ran outside.
And did you make crafts?
Yeah, I made crafts. I had fun playing, and I have a good one.
Anything else you want to say?
Have a good day.
So now we can work on developing some sort of framework to prove to the government the need for 0 to 4 programming, because there really isn't anything that's Aboriginal specific.
I think one of the next steps would be then to go into the community and share with the stakeholders, so community organizations, maybe the schools, about what the parents were asking for, so that we're all clear and on the same page, and that it's coming from the parents themselves in terms of the types of programming they would like to see happening in the community for their children from 0 to 5 years of age. We need to have programming that will involve and include all ages of family members, and really encouraging dads to come and be involved. So I think we need to expand our horizons in terms of supporting families and maintaining that Minopimatusuin, which is that concept of living a good life. I think we need to expand and provide supports to the whole family.
A real special thanks goes to the J.W. McConnell Family Foundation out of Montreal for giving us the money to hold a gathering and to make it a wonderful success that it turned out to be. The next steps for us is to, of course, continually meet with families and to listen to their concerns, and probably maybe one of the other areas is to begin to look at how do we introduce our Aboriginal languages in the mix of our programming with our Plain State program and our Weston program.